Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I am Dave Grendzynski, but that's tough to say sometimes, so please feel free to call me Grizzer. A lot of people do, and this is where we'll get you caught up on some of the latest news and the tidbits that we say are tied to our, could be loosely tied, not so loosely tied to our favorite team in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns, the elf on the wall. Probably gave it away. Thank you to everybody who's liked our previous episodes, who have subscribed to the channel already, and all of you who get your comments down there in the viewer comment section. Big part of this show. Speaking of, today we will kick the tires on a plan for Dawand Jones that sounds off the wall, but it actually makes a ton of sense. I've been telling you there is no way Andrew Berry can screw up this draft, and today I brought some proof. The prediction pen is here, as it always is. Here, ready to go. And as we always do, we ask it a warm-up question. We never know what, he has the whole week to do things. So we always want to see what kind of mood he's in. So we give him a warm-up question, and that question is every single week. Oh, prediction pen, will this be a good show? Not for $1 million. Okay, well, you got chores to do, the car to wash, the grass to cut, whatever you got. If you want to start it early, prediction pen says go ahead. Don't even waste your time with the nonsense that's about to unfold on this show. So well, there you go. All right, well, we'll bring him back in a few minutes. We'll see. Maybe he'll cheer up by then. We'll see what kind of mood he's in. And then in the viewer comments, who's going to push Shedeur? Oh, okay. Good question. Who could it be? Always, you see that? They always get me with that zinger at the end, and I got to stay and wait for the end of the show to see what they're talking about. It's crazy. Speaking of crazy, how about this off-the-wall plan for Dawand Jones? It comes courtesy of the greatest talent evaluator that only we know. That is, of course, Thraso Thrasavulu. Thraso and I had a little powwow on the Browns the other day. And he recommended this plan for Dawand Jones. And when he said it at first, I thought, I don't know about that. But then the more you think about it, it makes sense. And he has a great example of how it worked in the past. Durasso says what they should do with Dawand Jones, and now I'm not fully against this idea. Move him to guard. Well, it seems like we have this logjam at guard, though. That's the one thing. But he said that's what the Eagles did with Mekhi Becton, and it helped them win the Super Bowl in 2024. Becton, if you remember, drafted by the Jets in the first round, 11th overall, as a tackle. He was a left tackle, played some right tackle. He's 6'7" and 360. Dawand Jones, 6'8", 374. And the problem is, these big guys, as big as they are, even though it's hard to run around them, I mean, these edge guys, look at Garrett. Look at these edge guys. They're getting so fast. They can get around them. Even though they are so big, they could still get to the quarterback. So what they did with Becton in Phillies, they moved him to guard. It was the offensive line coach, Jeff Stoutland, moved him to right guard, and Becton adapted well, starting 15 games, contributed to the Eagles' strong offensive play that year that won them the Super Bowl. And so it's not crazy. The problem is, I don't think Jones has played any guard, but doesn't have to move as much. I mean, maybe he wouldn't have to pick up as much. Maybe it'd be a better fit if he doesn't have to move around so much. And it could decrease the injury risk as well. And so I am curious to see if the Browns will kick the tires on an idea like that for Mekhi Becton. Thrasso's always thinking. And, this is something that I think of him as a right or a left tackle, but could he move inside to guard? Could that be something the Browns toy with? I mean, the success Becton had. Now, Becton then, after he wins the Super Bowl, the Chargers committed the cardinal sin. They signed him after a Super Bowl win, and they signed him to a 2-year deal. He started 14 games in 2025 for the Chargers at guard. Was released in March because he's got his ring, and you just paid him. And so you never sign a guy off a Super Bowl win. Ever, 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 never, ever sign a guy off a Super Bowl win. I don't care who it is. You don't do it. Once they get their rings, man, and then you pay them, forget about it. They're peacing out. My experience, that's all I'm saying. But back to this idea with Jones. It's off the wall, yes, but that's a similar size player who moved from drafted as a tackle, but moved inside to guard and had a ton of success. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Share your thoughts in the comments. All right, now I've been telling you for as long as we've known each other, there's no way Andrew Berry can screw up this draft that's coming up here in less than 2 weeks, April 23rd in Pittsburgh. And the reason is this. I said, outside of taking a punter at 6, there is no way, and a kicker maybe, because we don't need that. But there is no way he could screw this up. Why? It's because I keep talking about the talent pool being so deep. Not just for us. The wide receivers and the offensive line go deep into the 3rd round. But the top tier talent at the very top of this draft also runs deep. Here's what I mean. This is like the list. I had to go to the land of semi-small fonts to fit all of these guys in. And look at all the names on this list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 names. These are the names that could potentially go in the top 6 picks. You got 12 guys for 6 picks. Mendoza, Arvell Reese, Jeremiah Love, Sonny Styles, Ruben Bain Jr., David Bailey, Francis Mauigoa, Carnell Tate, Caleb Downs, Spencer Fannell, Mansour Delaney, Jamad McCoy from Tennessee. Like, look at all these names. These are all potential top 6 picks. There's 12 names there. Here's the other thing. Not only do you have all of these names, but take a look at this. Like, this is kind of how they're breaking it up right now. Tier 1, near lock to go top 3 or 4, Mendoza, and then 2 or 3 defenders. Potentially Jeremiah Love. So it's either Love, Reese, Styles, or Bain after Mendoza in that conversation for top 4 picks. Then tier 2, Bailey, Mauigoa, and Tate are mixed in there. But look at the last line. All of the experts agree there is no massive drop-off after the top 4 or 5 players. And so whether you take one of those players at 6 or you trade back a little bit, even to 12, and then you just say you're going to go best player available, one of those 12 will be there. Just take them, and you got extra picks coming out of that. Or just take one of those top 12 guys at 6 and move on. Or even if you drop down to 10, depending, there's so many different scenarios. But that's what I'm saying when I say Andrew Berry can't screw this up. There are so many calculations that you could come up with, so many ways you could go with this draft, and you're going to come to me and go, Dave, you know what they did? They took this guy at 6. And I'd be like, sure, why not? I love Tate. Don't get me wrong. I do. I would like to see the Browns get Tate. Other people love Love. I like Love. I honestly would take Downs before Love because I love what we have in Judkins and Sampson. And if we're not going to get Tate, then I think you flip and you take the generational guy in Downs and add him to the defense. If people can't score on us, that's a good thing. So there's no way, there is absolutely no way in my mind that Andrew Berry screws this up. Because the other thing is this. What we have at 6 and 24, and we talked about the pick at 24, that could end up being the most coveted of the 2 picks because of the scarcity of the other positions. Not what we need, what the other teams are looking for. Those edges, of course, quarterback, that's where the whole Ty Simpson thing gets going. And so really only for us, I think if there's a limit, it's tackles because we are leaning left tackle, and there's a ton of right tackles in this draft. But Andrew Berry, we talked about it the other day, that versatility. They would prefer to get that versatile lineman that they could move if they needed to. I hate doing that. But if you got a guy that has experience doing both, then, I mean, it's a little easier to digest. But that, to me, really, as far as what we're looking for, I think we're a little more limited with tackles because, or I just say get a right tackle and bring them along. Like, I am so over this moving right tackles to left tackle. I can't do it anymore. It's the bane of my existence. This right tackle to left tackle thing. So, but there you go. I'm telling you, man. This is we hold all the cards going into this draft, and that is one of the reasons why. Now, this guy holds all the cards for us every week because he has the answers to all of our crazy questions about the Browns. Some of them not so crazy. A lot of them crazy. But Prediction Pen never lacks answers. Always has an answer for us. And we will start this week, our Prediction Pen segment, with this question. Will the Browns, speaking of, remember, we have the scarcity of quarterbacks. Now, I'm not saying I think the Browns will take a quarterback later in this draft, and it could be as early as I would say round 4, because depending on the value, like if Aller's still there in round 4, they might jump the gun a little bit and grab him just to make sure they get him, because I think they're going to draft a quarterback to replace Dylan Gabriel. That's what I think is going on here. I think it's Shedeur, Watson, and then quarterback to be named later. I don't see Dylan Gabriel hanging on. No, that's just my opinion, but let's see what the Prediction Pen thinks. So, Prediction Pen, will the Browns draft another quarterback in the 2026 NFL Draft? Dude, no way. Okay, so Prediction Pen's still in a negative mood. I disagree with the Prediction Pen on that one. Next question, Prediction Pen. Will the Browns' offensive line allow fewer than 40 sacks in 2026? No brainer. See, the revamped offensive line already paying dividends, less than 40 sacks. Prediction Pen is on board. Okay, thank you, finally. Maybe cheering up. Maybe just needed 2 warm-up questions this week. Maybe that was it. We'll find out. Okay, all this offensive line talk. We've been talking about the offensive line a lot this week. So we already know the pass protection is going to be better. We're giving up less sacks. But what about the run game? All right, Prediction Pen. Will a Browns running back rush for over 1,000 yards in 2026? No brainer. Judkins for over 1,000 yards. How about Mac, the old Mac and Biner? Let's go. Judkins and Sampson, both of them. 1,000-yard rushers, man. The new Mac and Biner. This is what I said last year when they drafted him. The new Mac and Biner, man. We got him. They're both going over 1,000 yards this year. All right, Prediction Pen. Now, Prediction Pen. This is something we don't talk enough about, but we mentioned it the other day. The Browns have quietly revamped their special teams unit, not only with the new coach, but adding some of these players to it. The special teams play should be much better. I mean, it won't take much for them to get better because the special teams unit was a complete disaster the last 3, 4, 5 years. But here is the question for the Prediction Pen. Oh, Prediction Pen, will the special teams unit rank in the top 10 league-wide? If you're lucky. Okay, I'm okay with that answer. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I keep talking about how the Browns, Todd Monken, brought over all of the Baltimore Ravens coaches to coach the offense with him. They did not run to New York with John Harbaugh. They decided to come over here with Todd Monken. And the question for the Browns, we are going, that Ravens game now is really going to be ramped up because they're going to want to stick it to the Ravens, just like we always want to stick it to the Ravens. So the question for the Prediction Pen is this. Oh, Prediction Pen, will the Browns beat the Ravens twice in 2026? If you're lucky. Okay, Prediction Pen, yeah, I think we are. We're going to beat them. They're going to be a mess. Pittsburgh's going to be a mess. Cincinnati has no defense. They stink. We're winning the division. All right. We will end the Prediction Pen segment with a question that came out of the viewer comments from the Life of Alexander, who says, "Oh, prediction pen. Will the Browns finally silence the Cleveland public media and change the narrative on their quarterback hunting and the it's the Browns negative mindset?" Not for $1 million. Yeah, I mean, they think controversy sells with the Browns. And remember, Munkin said it the other day. He wants to establish a team that nobody will want to play. And here, though, you have the positive vibes only we have here. And so, yeah, the Cleveland media loves to, they think negativity and controversy sells or get some clicks. And so, but, prediction pen says, nope, you're never going to change that. But hey, over here, though, all positive vibes, baby. We're winning it. We're winning it all, baby. We're winning the division, everything. So this is where we look at the Browns as glass half full every single show. I see a lot of good things happening, man. A lot of good things happening with the Browns. Now, another good thing that happens all the time are the viewer comments. And we'll start today with Scott Coaster, 6668, who doubles down on the whole media talk and says, this darn media, as usual, are thinking Munkin will be a one-and-done head coach this season. I am so tired of all the negative media. Just to stir the pot and have something to talk about. Let's just enjoy all of this as it happens. Have positive vibes for this team. Before you know it, it will be a memory, and we will wish we didn't take such a negative outlook as it happened. Heck, it can't be any worse than what we've put up with for years. And you are exactly right, Scott Coaster. I don't understand why people always have to go negative when it comes to the Browns. Like, look at all of the good things that they have put together so far in this offseason. I mean, what is not to like? I'm with you, Scott Coaster. I am all in on the Browns this year, man. Just everything that's happening, man. And this attitude and this mindset that Munkin and the rest of these coaches he brought in are going to exude. It's going to catch on like wildfire, man. These players, man, they're gonna be running through walls. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch, man. This aggressive defense and this offense that can adjust week to week. Gonna be a lot of fun. Stones One Games says, based on what you have said in the past, the Browns need to trade down from 6, but no lower than 10. Reason being, 75% success rate in top 10 receivers and 70% success rate when trading down, and hopefully Tate is still there. Yes, if you traded down, remember we talked about this, the hit rate on receivers in the top 10 drops dramatically after pick 10. So if you believe in that and you go by the numbers, if you trade back, don't go back any farther than 10, and hopefully Tate still gets to you at 10, which is a possibility. I'm seeing some things now that say Tate could, just because these teams are going to want to move up and get these edges and some of these other guys. And so that's what could push Tate down a little bit further. But Stone, like you look at those numbers, we crunched those numbers, and they always say that the numbers don't lie, and so the hit rate drops down to like when you're at pick 24 taking a wide receiver, the chances of that wide receiver becoming your number one wide receiver or playing so well they get a second contract in year 3 or beyond drops down to like 25%. So that's just history. History not necessarily on your side if you wait to try and draft a wide receiver 1 down at pick 24. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it only happens 25% of the time versus taking that top 10 wide receiver, taking a top 10 pick, a wide receiver. Those hit about 70% of the time. And then trading back, typically 70% of the time, it works out. So 7 out of 10 versus 2 out of 10. Those are your options. So, but great point, Stones. Great point. Ken Reeves, 8511. This is what we teased at the top. Ken says, I agree that Watson is going to push Shedeur. And yes, I think he will push him a little bit, but I also think that there's that mentorship factor there. They seem to, gravitate towards each other last year. And so I think he'll push him not just physically, but mentally as well, and help him develop. I honestly think that Watson is coming in here just kind of knowing his role, just kind of knowing that. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 years. He has no leverage, but, talking with some Browns fans the other day, somebody said, and I feel this is where they're at, where they talked to Watson and said, or maybe he said to them, like, let me just hang on. Can I just hang on for one more year and try to, because he's got something to prove too, because, I will tell you this, amongst all the Browns fans I was talking to the other night, nobody wants to see him quarterback this team ever again. People are saying if they named him the starter, they are not watching the Browns this year. That's how bad. I am telling you, folks, the disdain for Deshaun Watson in this city is 110%. It is not good. I'm telling you, we've watched this. We have been down this road. We have seen this. Nobody wants to see him start. Everybody wants to see what Shedeur can do. And so if Watson is there, I mean, you say push him. I don't know if it's push him, but almost more like support him is the word I think that is the one that I would use in this situation. But Deshaun Watson to be there as support for Shedeur, to me, makes a lot of sense. He's got that experience in the league, and he can at least share some things with him, and he's a similar type quarterback. Like, what is Dylan Gabriel going to tell, like, Shedeur? Nothing. You kind of have that built-in veteran backup for your young and up-and-coming quarterback already. That is how this room, Deshaun Watson is not going to be the starter. For anybody who thinks that, nobody in Cleveland wants that. And so, but people are okay if he there is the backup, is the support system for Shedeur. People can swallow that pill here in Cleveland. So there you go. And we will end today with Neil Robison, 8702. And here we go. We're going to have to do a show with all of the songs after the Brown, like back in the day when the Bernie songs and all the songs were. We're going to have to come up with a list of songs, a new list when the Browns are in first place and we're undefeated and all the songs start coming out. Neil Robison has got us off on the right foot. He said, brass monkin', that funkin' monkin'. Remember the old Beastie Boys song, Brass Monkey? Well, he said, brass monkin', that funkin' monkin'. And I thought that was good. Now, my favorite Beastie Boys song, of course, is Paul Revere. Paul, I mean, you can't, here's a little story I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well. I love that song. Riding across the land, kicking up sand. I love that song. It's such a good song, man. That was back in the day, man, the Beastie Boys. What was that, like 1988, 87? Oh, one lonely beastie I be, all by myself without nobody. The sun is beating down on my baseball hat. The air is getting hot. The beer is getting flat. Remember Ad Rock, MCA, and me, Mike D. Love the Beastie Boys. Back in the day, I like the old school Beastie Boys, but I like Brass Monkin'. Good tune. Good tune. Now Neil Robison, just like Rumors was in my head all day the other day, Brass Monkin' is going to be in my head for the rest of the day. Okay, that's going to do it for today's show. Thanks so much for joining us. Go Browns! We will see you next time.